Karma is a pain in the butt, especially for these celebrities. Welcome to Beyond the Screen, I'm Nate, and these are 10 entitled celebrities who've got instant karma. Number 10, Katherine Heigl. Kathy was riding high back in 2007. The former Grey's Anatomy star not only won an Emmy for Best Supporting Actress in a Drama Series, but she also started transitioning to the big screen with the success of her first feature comedy Knocked Up alongside comedy legend Seth Rogen. Unfortunately, her rise to the top quickly became a free fall into a volcano following an ill-fated Vanity Fair interview the following January. In the interview, Katherine made a move that still has a lot of people scratching their heads to this day. She openly bashed the film that made her famous, claiming that it painted women as true, humorless, and uptight, while also placing blame on Seth Rogen for writing the men in the story as lovable, goofy, fun guys. The film still sits at an impressive 89% on Rotten Tomatoes because, while she might claim that it was a problematic movie, the final product is fun, it's a love story, it's filled with good jokes, performances, it's a great movie. If you've never seen it, you should check it out. Seth felt betrayed by the comments as they never had a fight on set and never seemed like she was uncomfortable at any point. These comments, combined with some negativity towards her Grey's Anatomy writers, caused her agents to drop her as a client, and her time in Hollywood slowly came to a halt. These days, she stars in the CBS comedy Our House, but it's looking like she might never return to the big screen again. Number 9, Roseanne Barr. In the late 80s, Roseanne starred in a sitcom titled after herself, and she starred alongside Hollywood heavyweight John Goodman in the series that followed the couple's everyday lives as a working-class family. The show aired for 230 episodes and eventually got canceled in the mid-90s. The show was eventually revived in 2018 as the same wholesome content for a new generation. Unfortunately for Roseanne, sitcom producers have Twitter. Her show was quickly re-canceled only a few hours following Barr posting a tweet about Valerie Jarrett, telling the world that she was the product of Planet of the Apes and a certain brotherhood having a baby. She later apologized for the tweets, but the damage was done. ABC Entertainment President Channing Dunney said in a statement that Roseanne's Twitter statement is abhorrent, repugnant, and inconsistent with their values. Barr actually defended her tweets, saying that they weren't racist, but in fact were just jokes, because you know those can be the same thing, Roseanne. Number 8, Jussie Smollett. In January of 2019, famous actor Jussie Smollett walked into a Chicago police precinct and reported that he had just been the victim of a hate crime. He told the police that two strangers began shouting racial slurs at him. While one was yelling, the other was pouring the chemical bleach onto him before they both held him down and tied a rope around him. He claimed to have suffered severe rope burn and was physically ill from the experience. As we all know, that isn't exactly what happened. The so-called strangers were actually two brothers who worked with Jussie on the set of the hit series Empire, and according to inside sources, Jussie paid the brothers $3,500 each to help him stage the event, planning every single detail right down to the precinct visit. The proof that all this was a ruse made up for publicity was the fact that the altercation conveniently took place directly in front of a security camera. An investigation took place that found ample evidence that Smollett had set himself up. They found receipts from the ropes used during the altercation that were left in the assailant's home. Way to hide the evidence. There was also security footage taken from a store where the brothers can be seen trying on and purchasing ski masks, gloves, and red hats. I would pay anything to see that footage. It would just be hilarious now. At the end of the day, Jussie was forced to serve 150 days in prison and pay the Chicago Police Department over $300,000 for wasting their time and resources. So, but by the way, if anyone gets mad for how I pronounced his name, just remember, he faked a hate crime. Maybe focus on that. Number 7, Dave Chapelle. Dave Chapelle dominated the comedy scene in the 90s and the early 2000s. His stand-up was considered to be the most gut-busting and entertaining around, and his role in films like The Nutty Professor, Robin Hood Men in Tights, and of course the cult classic, one of my favorites, Half-Baked. He took a bit of a break from starring in films to focus on his family and his true passion, stand-up comedy. Despite being on stage for like 12 years, Dave never really learned to follow suit with the times, because there were certain topics that just became a little rude to joke about. And a lot of jokes considered to be funny in the 80s and 90s have not aged well, and unfortunately that seemed to be all the material Dave had. In one of his more recent Netflix specials, Dave decided it was his time and his stage and he could do whatever he wanted, and apparently what he wanted to do was make fun of the LGBTQ+ community, spewing trashy jokes that aren't worth quoting or repeating or googling, just they were bad. If you're curious how bad, they were rough enough to have Dave's fans turn on him immediately. Netflix CEO Ted Sarandos actually defended the comedian, claiming that he had artistic freedom even after a group of Netflix employees and transgender advocates staged a virtual walkout. He later apologized and said that he handled the situation poorly. Poor Ted, he accidentally supported a bigot. Number 6, Louis C.K. There's not much to say about this guy. He was once a giant in the world of comedy. He had his own show with his name on it, was in movies and TV shows, was he was a busy man, but apparently he was also being the creepiest creep to ever live. Hours before his film I Love You Daddy was set to premiere, it was pulled from theaters, and it turned out Louis was being canceled and publicly outed as a few things that I'm not allowed to say on the internet. Let's just call him slimy. For many years, Louis would use his status as a boss and a comedian to intimidate and mistreat his female counterparts. According to the accounts, he would take women aside and ask them if they'd like to watch him feed his geese, as Bubbles would say. Even when they would say no, he'd just whip it out and do it anyway. Several women recounted him blocking their exits as he did his thing, physically forcing them to watch. This man was rightfully fired from all TV shows and films, his comedy tour was cancelled, his agent dropped him off a cliff, and he's now the slimiest man in Hollywood. Number 5, J.K. Rowling. For all you Harry Potter fans, cover your ears, because this one's gonna be rough. J.K. Rowling is known for being the author of the much-loved Harry Potter book series that was eventually adapted into 7 gloriously magical movies, and the 5th one. In June 2020, Rowling retweeted an op-ed piece that discussed people who menstruate, apparently taking issue with the fact that the article didn't use the word woman. She tweeted people who menstruate. I'm sure there used to be a word for those people. Someone help me out. Wumben, Wimpund, Woomud. While this tweet garnered massive amounts of backlash from fans, Rowling doubled down on her views in more detail. She tweeted, if gender isn't real, there's no same-gender attraction. She said, I know and love trans people, but erasing the concept of gender removes the ability of many to meaningfully discuss their lives. She went on to say that she respected trans people's rights to live any way that they feel is authentic to them. At the same time, her life has been shaped by being a woman. She claimed it wasn't wrong to speak the truth and that she was proud, but like, come on, no. Everyone in the world called JK out for her comments and views, with the live-action Harry Potter stars even taking to Twitter to call out her behavior, standing with the trans community. JK's publishers dropped her from the roster, and the future of her writing career is up in smoke, straight up from the Death Eater's butt. If she had just kept her opinions to herself, maybe The Cursed Child would be an awesome movie instead of a so-so fling. Number 4, Ceelo Green. He saw us driving around town with a girl he loved, and he was like an actual terrible person. When I was growing up, I really liked this guy. FU was my anthem, but little did I know that in 2014, this man would turn out to be a terrible person. Ceelo Green was brought into a court case after a woman alleged that he spiked her drink in 2012, and according to Ceelo, he pleaded no contest to the accusations of supplying X to a woman who claims that she does not remember anything between eating sushi with him and waking up in his home the next day. Ceelo posted a very questionable statement that I'm not going to repeat because it actually almost made me throw up. He was basically arguing why what he did wasn't really what he did, but it was. He later apologized for the comments and eventually shut down his Twitter account, but the backlash was strong. Since then, Ceelo's been blacklisted from Hollywood, and considering he's barely made any music since, he's probably not going to be getting any Grammys anytime soon. Number 3, IShowSpeed. Darren Watkins, who's better known by his YouTube handle IShowSpeed, made headlines a few weeks ago after he accidentally exposed his Reginald Val Johnson on a live stream. The rapper and media influencer had just returned from a trip to Japan, and fans tuned in excitement to see him return to the gaming world and watch as he played a round of Five Nights at Freddy's. When he was startled by a character, he stood up to yell, only for his pants to fall down. He sat down and immediately closed the live stream. His account, which had millions of subscribers, was frozen and underwent a review from the powers at be. Following the slew of negative comments he received online, he went on an anger-filled rant in another statement telling his fans to stop talking and shouting a lot of F-words I'm not allowed to say online. What is happening right now? Twitter has since lit up with comments from people asking why they are being blamed for him not knowing how to use a belt. The most recent news is that his channel will not be banned despite his blatant violation of their guidelines, but considering the amount of hate this guy got, I can't imagine the channel's going to be very active for much longer. Number 2, Colleen Ballinger. Former YouTuber and terrible woman Colleen Ballinger was accused by several of her fans of being a creepy creepo who just wants to be their friend. Colleen is best known for her character Miranda Sings on YouTube, who was so popular that she got her own Netflix series. If you want to watch that though, you'll need a VPN because I'm not sure where that exists anymore. She was basically messaging her fans to deliver so-called advice when she was actually just trying to manipulate them into being her little minions, not the little guys from Despicable Me, the fun ones. There was a massive amount of proof in the pudding. Fans had screenshots of conversations, with one fan claiming that she sent him lingerie as a joke because that's hilarious. Following the instant backlash from the world, she decided to post an apology video online band where she plays a ukulele. Because yes, after this woman is shown being weird to kids, she should sing about it to make it better. In response to the cringiest apology video of all time, people resurfaced a video of her that really should have gotten her canceled way back when a few years ago she decided it would be a fun idea to put on blackface and dance to Beyonce's Single Ladies on stage. Because it's just the roughest clip I've ever seen in my life, and no one at that show was like, oh, this is a little uncomfortable. And at number 1, Kanye West. Oh shocker, it's the king of controversy at number 1. I know he goes by Ye now, but I don't care. Kanye may be a famous rapper, but we can agree that he is now best known for being Kim Kardashian's crazy ex-husband. In 2019, Kanye released a series of tweets just, so full of demonetizable content. He said horrible things about several races and religions to the point where his account was shut down and banned by Twitter. His account went dark and dominoes of bad luck began falling down one after the other. His shoe brand was discontinued, his wife cheated on and divorced him, his best friend in the whole world got kicked out of the office and replaced by Joe Biden. I'd feel bad, but again, I don't care about him. And those are the celebrities who got instant karma. Leave a like down below if you enjoyed the video, follow the channel for more celebrity content every day, and thank you for stopping beyond the screen. We'll see you next time.